Welcome to day 342 of the New Way. I'll read Luke 24, 9 through 12. When they came back from the tomb, they told all these things to the 11 and to all the others. It was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary the mother of James, and the others with them who told this to the apostles. But they did not believe the women, because their words seemed to them like nonsense. Peter, however, got up and ran to the tomb. Bending over, he saw the strips of linen lying by themselves, and he went away, wondering to himself what had happened. And I'll read John 20, 1 through 10. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." So Peter and the other disciple started for the tomb. Both were running, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent over and looked in at the strips of linen lying there, but did not go in. Then Simon Peter came along behind him and went straight into the tomb. He saw the strips of linen lying there, as well as the cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head. The cloth was still lying in its place, separate from the linen. Finally, the other disciple who had reached the tomb first also went inside. He saw and believed. They still did not understand from Scripture that Jesus had to rise from the dead. Then the disciples went back to where they were staying. The women, or some of the women, ran to tell the disciples what they had seen and heard. I get the impression that the men were not interested in what the women were saying and disregarded them. But Peter and apparently John decided to check it out. John got there first, but Peter went inside the tomb first and looked around. What did they find? The linen cloth strips that were used to cover the body, and separate from those, the face cloth, a single cloth used to cover the head and face. It's just a little detail, but it was significant enough for John to mention it in John 20, verse 7. I'll read it again. John 20, verse 7. As well as the cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head, the cloth was still lying in its place, separate from the linen. If you were going to unwrap a body, you would probably leave all the wrappings together in one pile. I believe that Jesus unwrapped himself. He laid the face cloth to one side while he worked on unwinding the other. Others believe that when Jesus' self returned to his earthly body, the cloths just exploded off miraculously. But there remains that question, why weren't they all in one heap on the floor? Heaven is going to be such fun as we learn all these details and have all our questions answered. In his service, Dale.